perceptions day in and day out. But do you really know how the perceptions are formed? So I'll just share a small incident a day before. So I got up in the morning, I made a coffee for myself, sat down relaxed in my balcony, and while I was sipping it, all of a sudden there was a screeching sound, and I saw a biker at high speed crossing the street. Now I didn't really like it, and I felt like saying that such a reckless biker needs to be reported to police. It's a social hazard, right? Usually in the morning what I see is, I find it a relaxed state of affairs. The street, you can see few kids going to school with their parents, few aged people walking to the park and coming back, and it's a serene setting, all right? So I made a perception of that biker as a reckless biker. Why? See, I noticed few things. One, I heard a screeching sound. I felt a vibration in my hand holding a cup. I saw someone moving very fast, and I smelt a little bit of fuel over there. And I also saw few students, few kids on the street with their parents who were a little disturbed. They had to take side because of this. And hence, I decided that this person is very reckless and is a hazard to society. So what is happening is that there were some sensory data that was collected by my body, and all the data, when analyzed in my brain, I created a judgment that this person is a reckless person, it is very irresponsible. So that is perception. So perception is nothing but the judgment that you reach due to analysis of your sensory data. So you can sense things through all the five senses, maybe because of emotional state of affairs also. So there are three major factors which affect your perception. One, we say that is the context. So when I talk about the context, I am talking about context of early morning. I was in a relaxed state. Early morning, I do not expect a lot of vehicles to ply on the street. So my expectations were very different. So the context says that it was a time when such kind of vehicles were not expected, right? Two, what kind of setting I'm talking about? It's a social setting, right? So when I talk about the context part, I'm talking about the time, and I'm also talking about what kind of situational setting it is. Is it a work setting or is it a social setting? So in our case, it was a social setting. That is the first factor, right? The second factor is the perceiver, that is me. I was a perceiver. So here it so happens that I'm already beyond my mid age, and here I do not like fast moving vehicles. Though during my college days, I enjoyed driving fast. So due to age, my choices have differed now. My experience says that this is how accidents have happened. So I am got enough experience. So I've got enough experience to say that this can cause accidents. So the perceiver can have its own motive, interest. So that second factor is the perceiver. The third factor is the target itself, the person who is being perceived now, right? Person or an event. Now the person who is being targeted, we are looking for something that is different. A regular set of people moving from one place to another, we don't find anything different. We don't notice it at all. People are just going and coming back, right? But here, something different happened. There were lot many kids around. They were their parents. There were old people also there. But I was not noticing them. I noticed it because there was something different here. So there are certain different characteristics I look forward to in the target. Something different has to be there. So when I look at the target, I might look forward to what kind of background they have, how close they are, how they are similar to other things. So there are a number of factors I take into account when I talk about the third factor in making the perception. So there are three factors which help in forming the perception. We say, according to attribution theory, our perception is formed because of three major points. One, was there something different that I saw? So the different thing was that the person was moving on an unusual speed, that is distinctiveness. 2. Do everybody agree to it, that is consensus. So I found that people on the street also felt the same what I felt. So there is consensus. 3. We talk about consistency. Does this person drive like this on a regular basis? Have I heard about him earlier doing this, or have I observed this person doing this earlier as well? If that is the case, my perception is strongly made. My judgment is very, very strong. It's very difficult to change that perception. But in case I observe that on a daily basis, I saw this person driving carefully, no issues. But a day before, all of a sudden this person was moving at a high speed. So there I would like to know, was there some problem because of which this person is behaving like this? Can I help this person? Should I report the authorities about it? So there are a number of things which add on to it. So attribution theory says that we are interested in understanding what is the cause of the event. Why this different thing happened. Was it because of internal cause which can be controlled, or was it because of the external cause which a person could not control? So we are all interested in it. So that is how your perception is formed. Now we usually say that while making perceptions we all make errors invariably. So there are two major errors that we talk about. So one error that we talk about is fundamental attribution error. You know, whatever happens, the mistake is always of the other party, not of me. So anything that goes wrong, it's because of others. We look for fault in others, other resources, not in self, right? The second one is the self-serving bias, which says that if anything goes right, it was because of me, not because of others. We tend to be highly ungrateful. We do not acknowledge the support given by others to us in doing any job. So these are two major errors that we come across. There are other errors as well. Say for example, when I said that, what if that biker we saw was a film star, my favorite film star? In that case, probably it would be a pleasant shock. I will rather throw my cup and run to get an autograph with that person, with my film star, or maybe a pic with him. And not just me, probably everybody on the street would like to catch hold of him to get a pic instead of reporting to the authorities. So what is happening is there is some kind of a halo effect happening. We are trying to see only what good things that person has and that matters to me. So I am making some kind of an error over there. So we have talked about the selective perception that we have about others, the things that we like. We tend to notice only those things in others. We tend to ignore their bad things, or we tend to look only for their bad things and not the good things. So there is a selective perception. There is a halo effect. And we tend to think in those terms that I already knew it. This is likely to happen. So we have such errors in the making. Again, there is one major error that we always come across, that is stereotyping. So a particular religion, race, or a region, we said people of this particular place or this particular region or a race behave like this. So broadly, if a person says I belong to, say, Asia, I'll say that people are like this. If I say from Africa, people are like this. From Europe, people are like this. So I tend to make stereotypes for people because of their backgrounds. Now, how do I find this knowledge of perception useful in the real world? You know, people must have told you again and again, the first impression is the last impression, right? And this is something which usually is very important when you're facing a job interview. So the moment you enter the interview hall, the people on the other side of the table, the recruiters, they tend to form a perception about your personality within a fraction of a second. So there is a need to be careful while judging people for the jobs. So for interviews, we always suggest that the recruiters should make sure that such biasness does not happen. Again, we always say that in case I have certain beliefs about a person, that this person is good, likely to do good, I tend to motivate that person. So the perception of a good output from a person helps in motivating a person to really get that output. The third place that we can talk about is the appraisal process. Having some biasness in our mind, probably as a supervisor, I might make a mistake in appraising my subordinates. If I like a person, I'll say that the person is doing really good, but maybe did not get the right opportunity to give a good performance. But at the same time, the person was doing good and not in good books as far as I'm concerned. I might say that whatever good that person has done is at random. So the person really is not really worth what has actually happened with them. So I believe that we understand how perception is formed, and probably we'll be able to reduce the wrong perceptions in the coming times. Happy learning.